and how they were able to get beyond that, and things to that you can do as a creator to make sure that your mental health is in the right place when you're doing this. I'm sure.
What's going on, everybody? It's Webster here, the man, the voice, the fragrance. Here with a gentleman with a very luxurious and wonderful beard. We have none other than Arizona porn star AZP. How you doing today, sir?
I am doing well. Thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate your time. There are many questions I want to have or want to ask of you, but the first one is I have noticed, especially in my time in interviewing individuals in the adult industry, there is an increased sense of professionalism that I would say from the outside looking in, and especially someone being in their 40s, that's not something the industry is known for. And you're taking that even a step further by developing your own course to educate individuals on basically how to produce and be in the adult industry. Tell us about your course.
Sure. So the course came about because of what you said. I was seeing a lot of new performers coming into this industry and lacking that professionalism. They were treating it like a dating game. They would take their equipment, which, in this case is a phone a lot of the times, and they didn't know how to use it. So it was poor quality content. And it was just, I looked at it and I said, we could do better. Having been in and around this industry for 16 years now, I've seen the professional side, the pro side that brings in a lot of the professionalism, a lot of the things that, the studios stand for and the different brands stand for. But I wasn't seeing that on the content creator side. And, as everybody's just like, hey, listen, I've got a dick and I've got a camera, let's film some content. And, that was it. There wasn't anything around paperwork. There wasn't anything around STD testing. And to me, that's all part of the professionalism. It's not just the communication. It's not just the content you put out. It's the ways that you protect yourself, and it's the ways that you protect your co-stars as well.
Right. I think that's something that is very worthwhile. And I think that people in general, again, from someone who's not in the industry looking in, that is something that I think in general you don't think about. And people like me now are getting into the industry, so they really don't think about that aspect of things. But one of the things too that, and especially you coming from the camera side of things and then becoming a performer, there's definitely, I would assume, an eye for the filmmaking part, for the content creation part, not just the actions involved. And one of the things I've seen more and more, you have people who are getting in who have no concept of that side of things. You have some that are just have that mindset. They have that mind. They get in and they know about angles, they know about the artistry of it. And some just think it's, hey, I'm gonna set up my phone, get a ring light, and then I'm going to bust it open and sell it on OnlyFans and make a bunch of money.
Mhm. And that really is, that's the path a lot of people take, is just, bare minimum, get in, just trying to get their dick wet, as I always say. I mean, that's
Mhm.
essentially what it is. Like, I got my phone, I got a light, let's do this. And to what you said, it's the artistry. It's the, how can I produce something that people want to watch, something that excites people, something that brings people back and to purchase more of your content. If you're just going to throw a ring light on, stick the phone halfway across the room, and just have two bodies smashed together, what are you seeing? You're not seeing much of anything. There are people who like seeing, the up close action, and you have to understand your audience. You have to understand the final product. Yeah, especially if you're doing, it works well sometimes in Gonzo, set up the camera and just go for it. But if you have a storyline, you have to think through that storyline. How do I, get from the beginning to the end and tell that story and pull somebody into it? And there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just set up the camera, set up the ring light and go. There's a lot involved.
I, One of the points you made, I think, is something, it's a very good point, that engagement aspect, that engaging your audience to have them come back over and over again. And I think that is an aspect of things that is lost on a lot of individuals who choose to go in this. I think of, again, I'm a man of a certain age. I remember Vanessa Del Rio and a lot of those
Mhm.
classic sort of adult entertainers. There was an engagement in what they did that made you come back as a viewer just to see them. It didn't matter what they did. It's just to see
Mhm.
them. And I think that that aspect of it is lost on some who enter the field nowadays.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you on that one. It's how can I get a video out there as quickly as possible, sell it as cheaply as possible, and who cares if they come back again? I'm just trying to make money, versus I want to build a fan following that no matter what I do follows me through all of those different avenues of life. And ultimately that's, I think, the biggest difference between the professional side and the content creator side. The professional side was building that story, building that brand that you could follow no matter where that actor or actress went. Whereas the content creator is just like, let's get a video out, let's make the video as cheap as possible and sell it. And both models work, but you have to look at what is your long-term goal as a
Right.
business person. What is your long-term goal? Do you want to just make quick money and move on, or do you want to build a following that you can then capitalize off of in a number of different ways?
Right. Now, what sort of aspects are available in your course for people to learn?
So the course right now is designed for men. We are going to have a female
Okay.
creator side coming out, but right now it's designed for men. And honestly, that's because I get I get email after email and tweet and DMs and everything else of going, "Hey, help me get into the industry. I want to do this." And so it starts off with I have a dick and a camera. What do I do next? And I walk them through, first of all, why are you doing this? I think there's something that a lot of creators don't necessarily think about right away, which is what are the risks and impact of getting into this industry on your, if you have, a regular 9 to 5 job, what's the impact on that? What's the impact on with your friends and your family? And so we take them through that, and we look at the equipment. We go, what's important? I have very expensive equipment. You don't need to start there. I mean, our phones have some amazing quality to them, but you have to know how to
Hmm.
use it. Then we talk about paperwork. There's I can't tell you how many creators I run into are just like, hey, I'll just tag you. I'll just tag you, and they don't ever do any paperwork. Well, problem is, if you get kicked off of that platform, you have to put the video up on a different platform. They're going to require paperwork. So take them through that process. We take them through the STD testing, which is huge in this industry. I think the biggest part of the course is really around boundaries, consent, and respect. That is the big thing that I see lacking in a lot
Hmm.
of areas, and so we really dive in on that, and then we get into the shoot day specific. So going over the paperwork, setting up your gear, lighting your scene, filming it from a technical perspective, and then filming it from a performance perspective. Then we take them through editing, and right now we have 2 additional lessons that are coming in, or 2 additional topics, I should say. One of them is how to market yourself on safe for work types of platforms like TikTok and
Hmm.
Instagram and things like that. And then how to run your business, how to automate things, what are some KPIs that are important for you. So we really want to take somebody who goes, I want to do this, but I don't know how to get started, and take them through that entire successful cycle, if you will, of setting up for a shoot, shooting the scene, getting it out there, marketing yourself, and then repeating it all over again.
Right. Uh, that's fascinating. But the first part you brought up is probably the first thing I thought about when I saw your course. It was, okay, what are maybe most on my mind, like the mental health aspects? Like, what are the risks? And the fact that you make it a point to say, okay, why are you doing this? Do you comprehend, okay, once it's all out there, what could possibly, how it could possibly impact your 9 to 5 job, your, maybe family life or whatnot? And that's very good that those questions are asked, because I think as normal a lot of this becomes in our society, there's still a stigma, right or wrong,
Mhm.
with this aspect in this sort of business, and it is going to impact you and what you do depending on what you do. I right or wrong, I understand if someone is a teacher and they choose to go into this field as a side hustle. I
Mhm.
understand why that could cause a conflict.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get
Again,
it.
a right or wrong, like I get it. I get why, and the fact that that question isn't asked at times. Okay, why am I doing this? What are the pros and cons? It seems like any major life decision that would be something you ask. What are the pros and cons? And especially with something that is so revealing in many aspects, you will want to really weigh the pros and cons before you step your foot into it, because once it's open, is open. As I say, the internet is forever, and it
Yeah,
does not go away.
it does not. And in that topic where I talk about mental health and the risks and impact, I interview fellow co-stars and performers in this industry, and one of them has an absolutely incredible story of what happened to them in real life when their 9 to 5 job found out that they had an OnlyFans, and all of the struggles that they went through, and they share this, and how they were able to get beyond that, and things to that you can do as a creator to make sure that your mental health is in the right place when you're doing this. I'm sure you've seen a lot of the stories recently of this industry losing
Hmm.
a lot of performers to mental health related things, and
Right.
it's this industry is tough, and I don't think a lot of creators fully understand what they're getting into the moment they put themselves on camera in this type of an industry.
Right. No, I agree with you totally. Let me ask you, you started out behind the camera. What prompted you to get in front of the camera?
So this is a little bit of a funny story. So long time ago, like I said, I've been in this industry for 15, 16 years. I answered an ad on Craigslist for a professional photographer with their own gear who was willing to take or okay with taking pictures of semi-nude and nude female models. And I was like, I mean, at the time I was 21, 2021. And I was like, yeah, I'd love this. So I had my gear. I lived on the East Coast. I drove down, and I walk in and I realize I'm on a porn set. And so the producer tells me, he's like, listen, we're going to mock up this whole scene. I need you to take pictures of it. He goes, you're going to go sit over there in the corner. And he goes, when we get ready for the pop shot, you're going to come over, you're going to take some pictures. And that's all I need you to do. Here's what I'm going to pay you. Is that good? I said, not a problem. So I did this for about a year and a half. And I get into this nice routine. And so I'm sitting there one day and I'm just kind of like, browsing on my phone. And the male talent could not perform. And so the producer was very upset because he had paid the female co-star a lot of money to be there, and he wasn't going to get the type of scene he wanted. So half jokingly, half serious, he turns around to me and he goes, "You want to do this?" And I said, I mean, before he even finished getting the words out of his mouth, I was like, clothes are off. I'm like, let's do it. And so I jump in, and one of the things that I'm known for is I come a lot. And so when
Hmm.
I did the pop shot, it was a facial type of website, and he sees this and he goes, "This is amazing." He goes, "This is the best first cum shot I've ever seen." He goes, "If I paid you more money, would you still come down to take the pictures and then at the end do the pop shot so we could get like really good facials?" And I'm like, "So you're going to pay me more money and I get to be in porn? Like, who says no to this?" And so that's where it
Right.
all started. It just and then I worked with some of the other brands that they had and became friends with some of the agents, and I would go between New Jersey and Florida and work with some of the companies and whatnot. So yeah, it was just by chance that I happened to be there and was asked to step in as a stunt cock.
Understood. Now, moving from the East Coast to the West Coast, have you seen any difference in the, I guess, the scene there as far as adult scene?
I'm being based in the desert here.
Hmm.
There's not, when I first moved here, I didn't realize how big of an adult scene there was. But it's not as well known. So once you're in the
Hmm.
circle, you understand where a lot of it is. But most people don't realize that we have some really good creators, some really good studios here. So they typically fly over us and go to Vegas or go to LA. But overall, I mean, I think the biggest thing is just kind of the shift in attitude. Is just it's a little bit more laid back out here,
Right.
just kind of easygoing sort of thing. East Coast was always just, go, 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 get there, get in, get it done sort of thing. But
Makes sense.
yeah, outside of that, it was a lot of the same between the two.
Okay. Now, I saw on one of your pictures you had a Xbox controller in your hand. Are you an avid gamer?
I used to be an avid gamer. Now, unfortunately, work life has taken over a lot of that. But I do game a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. What games are you playing right now? Or I should say, what are some of your favorite games?
I was actually just telling somebody a story the other day, and when Xbox first came out, I was still living at home with my parents and my brother, and we had gotten it for Christmas, and so my brother and I hooked it up to his TV because he had the big TV at the time, and we started playing Xbox. And the first game we played, because it came with the Xbox, was Halo. And here I am, 22, 23 years later, still playing Halo. I don't know what it is. It's probably one of my favorite games because it was the intro to it, but that's the game I play most often when I sit down.
It's funny because I had an Xbox 2 when it came out. I was grad school. I didn't get into Halo 1. For some reason, Halo 1 was one of those FPS that just caused motion sickness for me. So I'm like, and I
Mhm.
wasn't really a big of an FPS person. But I was telling a family member because they were quite young, so I was watching a video on how 2004 was just like a great game, a great year for games, and it talked about the midnight launch of Halo 2. And I said, "Oh, I was there," and they were like, "You're what?" I'm like, "Oh no, I was there. Midnight launch of Halo 2. I still got my steel book in the garage. I played every other Halo since then.
Mhm.
I'm still working through Infinite at the moment. I am
Mhm.
Thursday night. I'm sitting in a den every night to watch the Halo TV show. Like, so I feel you on that way. Halo is, there's something about the series as
Yeah.
a sci-fi head that it just grabs you with the story,
Mhm.
even more so than just the gameplay. Like for my channel as well as my man's channel, I do segment weekly called Game Bites, so I just kind of play through like little bits of video games, just a small snippet, 10 to 15 minutes at most. And one of the first ones I did was ODST because
Mhm.
I went back to it because I remember when it came out. I'm sitting in my living room, and I'm a grown man then with my own house. I'm sitting in the living room and I'm playing this, and I just remember the atmosphere and just the quiet and the gameplay, how it was so different from the other games, but it was still Halo, and it was just such a wonderful game to play through. And that is just something I've really gotten from the Halo games in general, the mainline first person shooters. Not I haven't dabbled into Halo Wars. I'm not really into RTSs, but just the
Mhm.
mainline games, it's just the story and the pacing, even Halo 5 Guardians. I've just really enjoyed every single aspect of the series.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that one for sure. And I recommend at some point trying to get in and play Halo Wars. It's a lot of fun, especially the second one. I played the first one and it was good. I really like the second one. They've added a lot of features to it. I don't play that as often. I prefer the FPS, but it's they meld that very well into the Halo Wars to now give you, that strategy. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love the
Right.
series. I love the story.
I even bought the Halo mobile games that when they originally came out on Windows Phone and
Yep.
PC. Like I still have those too. So yeah, I definitely am a Halo fan. So okay, you have this great beard. How do you get your beard like that?
This has been a lot of trial and error. And honestly, right now, just kind of looking at it, it needs to be cleaned up a little bit. I'm due for
Mhm.
the barber, but I have some shoots I'm going to Vegas for next week, so I'll get it tuned up right before that. But honestly, it was a lot of trial and error right around COVID. I had a short beard like yours. It was much easier to maintain at that time, and COVID hit and I was like, well, I'm not going anywhere. So I let it grow and
Right.
grow and grow. And at one point I actually had it down to here. I mean, it was just this massive beard and it was a pain to take care of. Like I had a straightener and I was doing that. So finally, this is probably about 3 years ago. So just as kind of, everybody was coming out of COVID or things were starting to open back up again, find this great barber, probably about 20 minutes away from me. High recommendations, Italian guy. And I go in and I showed him some pictures. That's all I had to do. I was like, this is what I want my beard to look like. And he went in and he just styled the whole thing. And I walk away and I was like, this is what I want it to look like. So, he did it for a number of years. He actually just retired recently. So I found another
Mhm.
barbershop guy. I walk in, he's got the same beard like me. So he just comes in and he gets it all trimmed up nice, and then I just do a little maintenance work. over, I typically get it trimmed every 2 to 3 weeks. And so I'll
Hmm.
do a little bit of maintenance in there, kind of take out some of the stragglers down at the bottom. But like the Brady Bunch, you got to brush this thing every
Yes.
single day. Like that's what happens. I have one of my brushes right here. Every so often I just get in there and brush it, make sure it maintains its shape.
It's something like that. I have a smaller beard, but I got a really nice beard brush a couple months ago, and when I got that, I realized this is why everybody's always brushing their beard, because like
Yeah.
it's so therapeutic.
Yeah, it really is. And especially like one of these, it's like it's a softer bristle. So you just take it and just run
Yeah.
it through. But yeah, it feels so nice on the beard.
Right. Right. Okay. So your Webster style. Are you any fragrances at all?
So I body chemistry is big. And so, you
Right.
take a fragrance and you put it on me and it smells one way, you put it on you and it smells a different way, you put it
Right.
on a third guy, it's completely different. So for the longest time, I experimented with all different kinds of fragrances and I thought it smelled good. Spray it in the air, you're like, oh, this is good, put it on you, and you're like, did I put on deodorant today? Like, what happened?
Right.
And so I went through and I tried a lot of different ones. What I have found, and you'll laugh at this because it's not a traditional fragrance. It is something that people, joke about all the time, but it's one that I actually get. It works very well with my body chemistry, and I get a lot of compliments on it. It's Axe body spray, and it's the Dark Temptation. And so it has this heavier, kind of a chocolatey sort of smell to
Right.
it. I have had people walk past me and stop and go, "What are you wearing?" And I'm like, Axe body spray. And they're like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm wearing Dark Temptation Axe body spray." So I don't know what it is. It works very well with my body chemistry. I have another one that I got from Target that if I need something, um, what I would call like a little bit more professional sort of thing,
Hmm.
not as sweet smelling. I use that, but I don't remember the name of it offhand. I got it at Target or something like that.
Okay. All right. Well, I personally am not a big body spray fan per
Mhm.
se. I know got asked like a long time ago before I got into fragrances. I recently got, and since it's right here, like this is what Whiskey Reserve from
Mhm.
Bath and Body Works.
Mhm.
They aren't bad at all.
Okay.
I think to some extent they've come a long way, but something you said is very important. I always say fragrances are different on everybody.
Mhm.
It may smell very cheap aerosoly on me, but it may be totally different for you. I have a friend of mine actually who has always been a very musky guy, always,
Mhm.
even when we were in college. So now he is trying to find the fragrance that really works with his body chemistry and going through sort of the motions as far as finding what works and what doesn't. So yeah, you're right. A lot of it is really just that experimentation of finding out what works with your body chemistry and what smells good on you, not just smells good out of the bottle.
Yeah, absolutely. And I found when I was experimenting with it too, I would put it on right after I took a shower because
Hmm.
that has, your skin's clean, so it has
Right.
you might have a little bit of residue from the soap that you were using too. And so it smells different. Then I'd put it on in the middle of the day, so after I've been out of the shower for a while, my, naturally my oils came through. And I'd put it on after like a workout. And then that way it was just like I had different um my body was in different states when I would put it on. And so I would have, and it's very different smells. And so what I find is that for me, it works best right out of the shower, put it on nice and clean. But then as I go throughout the day and I start to sweat a little bit, it really comes out. And even I can smell it. And it's just a very pleasant smell. And again, that's the same reaction that I've had from other people. So yeah, chemistry is real big.
Right. Got you. Well, let me ask you a question. So has your course officially launched yet? Before I let you go, I want to make sure that's out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Course is officially launched.
Okay.
You can go ahead and sign up for the course. For the show, I actually have a special link for everybody. So they can go to it's thepornstarcourse.com and /Webster style, and then that will link them to you. And then when they go to sign up for the course, they can save $200 off of the amount. Just put in the code Webster style, and that's it. get them signed up. And if you're really good at learning and taking in information, you can go from knowing nothing to understanding how to successfully shoot and publish a scene within 14 days. So it gets them into the industry fairly quickly, teaches them a lot of the key important parts to it. And then we have some other great stuff coming down. We have some master classes coming out. So for those who want to learn more about editing, more about, the art of filmmaking, the cinematography, those who want to learn about how to set up their business for the best tax deductions. I mean, that's something that, a lot of people don't talk about in this business. And so, we're going to have master classes on those. I plan on offering mentorship at the end. And so, I've had a lot of creators come to me and go, well, this person won't work with me because I don't have any content. But if I can't shoot with somebody, how do I get content to show them? And so we're going to have a mentorship where I will do a one-to-many, kind of a small group. So 1 to, 10 or 15, where we'll answer their exact questions. We'll help them communicate with, potential co-stars. We'll help them through their questions on paperwork. And then at the end, we're gonna have a shoot house where they can come in with myself and my business partners, and we will teach them how to shoot a scene using their equipment, shoot a scene using mid-grade equipment, and then shoot a scene using cinema-grade equipment. So now they get experience on all of it. They're able to come in and work with a number of different co-stars. So it answers that question of, well, if I don't have content, how can I get out there and work with people? Well, by getting this mentorship, they can go through, do the shoot house, and now they'll have content to be able to show off and go, hey, here's what I can do.
Okay, cool. So we got that link. What are all your other links so people know?
Other links. So website is just azpornstar.com. You can find all of my content on there. And then if you're on Twitter, at AZPornstar, and that's it. I keep my social media fairly small. There's usually a lot going on, so I try and minimize how much work I got to do.
Understood. Well, AZ Pornstar, thank you for your time. Definitely appreciate it. You guys, Webster Style, we out.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.